Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a daughter abusing drugs.
You knew she smuggled heroin on the airplane.
God knows.
This family
You've got a daughter that has overdosed and died.
is ready to implode.
Are you doing drugs now?
I'm on medication.
What?
I'd rather not say. This isn't about me.
It's about whatever I decide it's about. It's been quite a morning. That's what it's like when you're dealing with addictions, emotions run high. Today's guests may own a beautiful home, a yacht, and take exotic vacations, but no one is immune from the drama of drugs. They may look like the perfect family. Mary is the one who reached out to me in fear of losing one of her stepdaughters, Shane, to a heroin addiction. But her brother Wade tried to sabotage the whole thing. He's been clean for 5 years and apparently thinks he knows everything. Take a look.
Wade doesn't want you to mention that he had a heroin addiction.
So let me just short circuit this.
Okay.
I'm not putting up with this.
Okay.
He's out.
Got
He's
it.
not coming on my stage. I am not listening to him abuse my staff in this way.
Okay. We'll go
And if the rest of them don't like it,
Yep.
they can load up and leave too.
Okay, tell them.
Yes, I'm not
Okay.
putting up with it.
Thank
We're
you.
1 second.
All right, we'll
Thank
get it done.
But let me tell you something. You don't come in here and make demands of me. You don't come in here and cuss my staff out and start telling them what you're going to do and what you don't do, or your butt is on the street. You need to understand that. I got 10,000 people fighting to get on this stage here to get the help that we have to offer. You don't come in here and start telling me how to do what I do. If you do, take it walking, because I'm not listening to that from anybody. It's just that simple.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
So here's what's going on. We just had a conversation with Dr. Phil, and we told him your list of demands, and he's seen the text message saying that you guys are pulling the plug, we're exploiting you, and you want out. So, as you can imagine, this is Dr. Phil's platform, and people do not run this platform but Dr. Phil. So, this is your option. If you'd like to leave, you can go ahead.
No.
Okay. You want to stay now?
Yeah,
Okay.
If you want to stay, then you have to understand, there's no, we can't talk about this, we can't not do this, there's no, you're going to threaten us, and we say this, you're going to walk off the stage. There's going to be none of that. So unless you're planning on completely participating, full force, you're out.
I was shocked when I heard this because we're here to save a life.
Exactly.
And that is what Dr. Phil's focus is on. So when he saw I'm out, he was like, okay, bye, Steph.
I think a lot has happened since then.
Okay.
And there's, as I said to Michael today, there's been a lot of conversations.
Okay.
So that's not Wade's position today.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll let Dr. Phil know.
Okay.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Well, that was a change of heart.
I think he
You know?
realizes that he has to go all in or
Yeah.
we can't do this.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Phil stood his ground
Exactly.
as we knew he would.
Of course he would.
So,
You know, as he says, you can't let
called
the tail
his
wag the
bluff.
dog.
Exactly. So we spoke to Wade and the family per your
So
directive.
he's gone, right?
No, he's here. He said he's not. He wants to do the show.
It's
He
not
wants
up to
talk you. He said he changed his mind. He was
Yeah.
very
Well, I
quiet.
didn't. I mean, I'm not going to allow him to abuse the staff. That's what's wrong with these people. They're entitled. They get away with all of this crap. I have no interest in talking to this guy.
Okay. All right. Okay. We'll tell him.
So would you like him to go home, period?
He can go to Starbucks. He can go home. I don't care what he
Okay.
does.
They
And if one of them wants to join him, they can go to Starbucks with him. I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to do what I know to do. Now, technically, this family was supposed to band together to save Shane, but it seems that this has been overshadowed by their own issues. They have a new normal that I am unwilling to accept. This may be a very short time. Take a look.
My family is in crisis right now. Michael and I live in panic every single day.
All my kids have struggled with drugs. Addiction runs in the family, and they picked up on it 100%.
I was 15 years old when my sister Kelsey died from an overdose. But I loved my sister.
When my sister passed away, I was 28 years old, and I was clean. I could not maintain my sobriety from that day forward.
As a Family, we do not talk about her death. It's too painful.
After Kelsey's death, Michael's youngest children, Wade and Shelby, started struggling with heroin.
My son Wade overdosed on heroin in our home, and I had to give him CPR.
Within 36 hours of each other, Mike had to give CPR to both Wade and Shelby.
I don't think my dad knew the full extent of my drug use, but I know he knew something was off with me.
I've been sober since 2016. Now that I have my life together, I want the same thing for my family. I've walked down your road, I've been around the block, so when you come at me and try to say, like, it's just my medication, that's not sober.
Shelby is on Suboxone, and she's been prescribed Klonopin for her anxiety.
My little sister Shelby says she's only on prescription medication, but you can look at her and tell something else is going on.
I'm not sure if Shelby's doing heroin, but I believe Shelby is doing something more than what she's prescribed.
Dealing with you is extremely difficult.
You say you're sober, but no one that's sober has a nasally voice and can't get words out.
Michael's a recovering alcoholic, and he has been on Suboxone for as long as I've known him. He has been prescribed Xanax for grief and anxiety. I know he feels some shame in using it. Michael doesn't know what to do about the family issues, and he is truly overwhelmed.
Well, the family claims they're here to save their daughter and sister Shane, who not only struggles with drug addiction, but is also a hoarder.
Michael's oldest daughter, Shane, is using heroin.
I'm absolutely addicted to heroin right now.
I've been in Shane's life for 13 years, and she has struggled with drug addiction the entire time.
I always had an addictive personality my entire life. The first time I tried heroin, I was, sniffing it. And then the next time I shot up IV heroin, and it was literally all she wrote at that point.
Just the other day, I took Shane to the methadone clinic. She went up the street to get cigarettes, and then I saw her get into someone's car and drive off. I'm assuming because Shane knew that we were coming out here to see Dr. Phil, that she saw it as her last chance to get a fix.
Shane's withering away. She's hoarding and living in complete filth.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Shane's hoarding is a solid 9 or 10. And it's totally out of control.
Whenever I'm in the house, I feel like I'm drowning under the weight of the piles that are around me. Jackets, sweaters, nighties, every type of leash.
Her apartment is basically uninhabitable.
These flies are driving me nuts, so hopefully they will all fly into this. They are driving me absolutely crazy.
I'm so afraid that if she doesn't get help, that we'll lose her.
I don't know if you know what's been going on here with your son. You get tired of being lectured by this guy?
Yes.
He's
28 years old, and he feels that he's his own man, and
yeah, well, he can be that, and I wish him well.
Right.
But here's just one of the examples of what he's done with the staff. I'm pulling the plug. I'm out. You people disgust me. I'm taking my family home. You cherry picking our conversations for juicy content to exploit us. You're not going to speak to my staff that way.
No.
Not one time, not ever. I've been here 18 years. I got the same executive producer I started with 18 years ago. I got the same supervisors I started 18 years ago. I got the same cameramen I started with 18 years ago. And you know why? Because I protect them. I don't let people come in here and abuse my staff.
I respect that.
And for this arrogant, pompous message, and then start making demands. Okay, you're not going to speak about this. You can't bring this up. You can't do this. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. Somebody has seriously misrepresented me to him.
Michael and I are here for all of your advice.
You've never seen your daughter using.
I just saw that.
She smuggled heroin on the airplane.
Yes.
That's a federal offense. And later, she blames you in part for your sister's death because you didn't do anything when you went in her room and she had overdosed.
Wednesday, she says her daughter can't stop faking pregnancies.
She's done this 9 times, and then she brings you this. I have 2 words for you. Photoshop. You actually threw her a baby shower. She's got her mouth open, just, oh my God. At this point, she knows she's not pregnant.
It is unfair to make up a baby so that you can have a nice party and feel loved. That is not why I did it.
That's Wednesday. Then on Thursday.
Not only is she going to inherit her mother's overcrowded and messy mansion,
if you can ride, why walk?
but it comes with a price. An older sister who lives in the basement.
New Dr. Phil, Thursday.
I'm absolutely addicted to heroin right now.
You've never seen your daughter using. Did you watch that tape piece?
Yeah, I just saw that.
And this is the first time you've seen it?
First time.
First time.
Let's take a look at Shane before she started doing drugs. This is age 13. And then here she is at age 36.
Right.
And if you think drugs won't ravage you, I mean, obviously they will.
Yes.
By the way, when she got here, she brought heroin with her, correct?
We found out after we got here that
She smuggled heroin on the airplane.
Yes, when we got here, I found out that she did that.
Okay, and you understand that's transporting drugs across state lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know she did that.
Many state lines. That's federal.
Yes.
That's a federal offense.
Yes.
Okay, and then when she got here, she then used the drugs, right?
I didn't see her personally, but I know that she did. She was saying that otherwise she would get really sick, she would get dope sick. Yes.
That's not true. She doesn't need to smuggle heroin to California to keep from getting dope sick.
Oh, I totally agree with that. That's what she had said to me. And
So you knew she was smuggling it?
No, God, no. No.
Well, what is it you're saying? You said that's what she told you after she got it?
After she got
it
here.
here?
After she got here.
Mary sent my producers 2 pictures of Shane after she arrived in Los Angeles.
Yep.
The first picture is Shane passed out after using at the hotel. The second picture is Shane at a pharmacy picking up syringes for her to use.
Yes.
Right? So it's clear that
That's
she's
why we're
using it.
here.
Yeah.
For your...
So obviously her judgment's impaired.
Absolutely.
Because she smuggled this on to a scheduled air carrier and transported drugs across state lines, which is a federal offense.
Yeah, I didn't know that she did that.
Yeah.
It was set up with the clinic that she was going to get methadone at a clinic here.
There was discussions at home, like, because she had told me that she was concerned, and I said, well, under no circumstances,
Yeah.
I said, I refuse to travel with you if you think that you're going to do that, because no. And then after, when we got here, she said that she had snuck some in.
I had no idea that happened, and I had talked to Shane because she had said, what am I going to do, what am I going to do? We had figured out there's a clinic here, she'd go to that. So this is totally news to me, and I told her she absolutely can't do that, and Mary also told her that. So I just don't want it to seem like this is a free-for-all or something. She was lectured. And
it is, because you're dealing with an addict. All you can do is tell them. I mean, you can't control all of her behavior. I totally get that.
Didn't give her any money. I mean, if she needs cigarettes, I buy cigarettes.
Listen, this is her choice, and she's making it. All I'm asking is that you don't make it easier for her to do it.
That's right.
It does not even occur to me that you two endorsed her transporting drugs here from there. I get that.
Right. And we took separate flights. I wasn't with Shane when she came.
I totally get that. I think you would be horrified for her to get on a plane with you carrying drugs. I mean, they could arrest all of you.
Thrown in federal prison.
Yeah, they could arrest all of you.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Mary says that Michael is slowly killing his daughter Shane with his enabling ways. He says this new normal that's been created, which is allowing this to happen, which is creating ways for this to continue happening, is a serious problem. You're interrupting me. Are you saying that's not what you said?
No, no, I'm not interrupting you, sir.
No, are you telling me that's not what you said?
No, I did.
We record these interviews.
I
If
did
you'd
say
like me
that.
to pull that up, because
No,
you're going, no, you're stopping me. We record these interviews. I'm happy to pull that up.
Oh, gosh, no. If you say that I said it, then I said it.
No, I'm not saying you said
I
it.
mean,
You said it.
I did.
I have it recorded. If you want me to
I'm
play
not
it back for
disagreeing
you, I
with
will.
No, I'm good. I don't remember saying it through that, but no, if I said it, I said it. And
I think she means in that context of that direct.
No, but Dr. Phil, I've made no bones about the fact that Michael has enabled.
We'll be right back. You've had problems with alcohol and drugs.
Yes.
You've got a daughter that has overdosed and died.
Yes.
You have a daughter that is addicted. Have you asked yourself why that might be? And later, you buy them all cars.
No.
Okay. Let's just take a look at what Michael has provided to children. I count 8 cars up there.
This February, one show.
Hundreds of couples targeted by an imposter in a fake adoption scandal.
Gabby told us that she was 15, she was pregnant with twin girls. She had hurt so many families.
It's now time to finally meet Gabby. You led them to believe that you had a baby.
I'm done.
Has it all.
David became the poster boy for extreme weight loss after he shed 400 pounds. But his makeover didn't last because David regained it. He now weighs 648 pounds.
I can't stop my son from eating too much. Voila, Pepsi.
How is that funny to you? Food's not fickle, is it? It never calls you a name. It never throws anything at you. It just kills you.
It's destroyed my life.
I'm telling you, if everybody around you is buying your and sabotaging you, it ain't gonna change.
Dr. Phil February.
Before we get back to today's program, I want to tell you about what we have coming up Friday. Now, Alyssa, Amanda, and their brother Dylan say they live in constant fear of their 25-year-old brother Ryan, who they call Raging Ryan, because of the outrageous temper tantrums that he has when he doesn't get his way. And Ryan's sisters and brothers say their mother, Erica, is his biggest enabler because she'll make his favorite meals and even buy him marijuana just to try to keep him from exploding. Now, on Friday, we'll find why Ryan says he feels he must constantly smoke marijuana or else he'll go into a violent rage. Take a look.
Look, you're gonna get your weed, okay?
When the is she gonna come right now? I swear to God. Serious. When is she gonna come?
Punch that!
I don't.
What are you doing?
I'm not playing anymore. Please get the out of here. Get the out.
Okay.
Get the
Hey!
Now, according to his family, Ryan, who lives at home and holds a job about a day a week, bullies his siblings and his parents for money for marijuana. Now, I talked to Ryan about why he was tuning out his life and not planning a future. You do not want to miss it. All right, let's get back to this family.
I think my father 100% enables my sisters, and I think he's even enabled me.
Michael's been paying for Shane's apartment for almost 4 years, and it was supposed to be just a temporary situation until she got back on her feet. While Wade was growing up, if he ever got into trouble, Michael paid lawyers so that Wade didn't have to suffer consequences.
In 2015, Shelby was in a sober living environment, and she was doing awesome. She threatened him that she would run away to the streets, so my dad let her back home.
Dr. Phil would say that Michael parents out of guilt. I believe that he's making up for the death of Kelsey.
I'm very sorry for your loss, by the way. Michael is now trying to keep his other drug-addicted daughter, Shane, from doing the same thing. And his logic in this is, I at least know where she is. I at least know she's not out under a bridge somewhere or committing crimes that can get her killed or whatever. And so it's a lot easier for me, who's removed from the situation to say that's not the thing to do than it is for a parent who's talking about their own child to find the strength to take a hard line. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But in reality, is he really, in fact, contributing to putting her on the same path as the daughter he's lost? Let's take a look.
Our family is in a minefield, and we are about to explode. I don't know how to fix them. When there is sobriety in the family, it is such a beautiful thing, but it's rare. I think I enable my children by giving them too much and not saying no enough. I feel responsible for the way they've turned out with the drug abuse. My daughter Shane is on a methadone maintenance program, and she uses heroin along with that, and that has escalated tremendously. I'm in a continuous state of mourning and fear of losing another child. I've been sober for 38 years from alcohol. I'm under a doctor's prescribed sedatives, and I take no other drugs. I take the sedatives to help me cope with the grief from my daughter's death. My son Wade thinks that the whole family needs help. I'm not going to take a lecture from Wade, who has put me through the ringer. I love Wade, but he really can't start throwing stones.
Look, we got to make a decision here. Anytime that I am going to deal with somebody that is on drugs, if you go back and look at all of the interviews, interventions, interactions I've done, I always talk to the family first before I talk to the addict. Mm-hmm. You know that? And yes. You know why? Because I'm assessing what resources I have. Mm-hmm. Because if I get them out here and family members start backpedaling, making excuses for them, buying into their fiction of life and all, that just gets in my way. And so sometimes I just don't have those people out here. That's why I'm talking to you guys right now, because look, you've buried one daughter, and you say that you're taking these sedatives and medications because you're grieving. You want to know what I think? I think you're taking them because you're not grieving.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You haven't done the grief work. You haven't faced this situation and dealt with it. I'm not someone that believes you put yourself in a chemical straitjacket so you don't feel pain. I don't think you dull your senses so you don't deal with the realities of life. There are times that I believe that medications can help, but you say, I'm taking these sedatives, but I'm not on any drugs, only what my doctor gives me. Right. Whether you buy those drugs in an alley or you get them from a doctor, they can be as addictive no matter where you get them. They can be as conscious altering no matter where you get them. The only difference is if you get them from your physician, you at least know what's in them. What is it your physician has prescribed you?
It's a benzo, and I take it at night after 9 or 10 o'clock, just to, at the end of the day. I never, ever take it during the day. And I don't live off of that in a constant state.
And ever. You're on Suboxone?
Yes.
So you've had problems with substances?
Yes, I have.
Alcohol and drugs?
Yes.
You've got a daughter that has overdosed and died.
Yes.
You have a daughter that is addicted to heroin. You've had a son that's addicted to heroin. You've got another daughter that also has issues with drugs.
Right.
So everybody in this environment has problems with substances.
Right.
Have you asked yourself why that might be? Well, I count 8 cars, and none of them paying rent or bills. You're paying their way through life.
The situation I've gotten myself into is just overwhelming.
A new episode of Dr. Phil's True Crime Podcast, Twisted Love, bringing a murderer to justice.
The family of missing mom, Michelle Warner, had just landed in Los Angeles to tape an interview with me about her disappearance when they got the devastating news. Michelle's ex-boyfriend, Mark Castellano, had confessed to her brutal killing. They want to see justice.
Mystery and Murder. Analysis by Dr. Phil. Episodes 1 through 4 now available on Apple Podcast and Stitcher.
You've got a daughter that has overdosed and died.
Yes.
You have a daughter that is addicted to heroin. You've had a son that's addicted to heroin. You've got another daughter that also has issues with drugs.
Right.
So everybody in this environment has problems with substances.
Right.
Have you asked yourself why that might be?
Besides being hereditary, the community we live in, my enabling, it's just a rampant disease in our
How many of them
country
live on their own, support themselves, make their own way in life?
None.
Sorry?
None at all. No, just
none of them.
No, just Shane, who has an apartment that's, as you see, it's not an apartment, it's a mess.
But you pay for her?
Yes.
You buy them all cars?
No, but in the past, yes, they got the first car when they got their licenses.
Well, let's just take a look at what Michael has provided his children. I didn't want to waste time doing this, but we want to split hairs. Okay, you've purchased Shane an Infiniti and a Jeep Cherokee, Wade, 2 WRX, Kelsey, a Honda Accord, Shelby, a Saab, and 2 Hondas. Shane's bills, she hasn't worked in 8 years. There's a family phone plan, $400 a month. Shelby and Wade don't pay rent. So you want to spend time telling me that you don't pay for these kids?
No, I wouldn't say that. I absolutely pay for them.
Well, I count 8 cars up there.
Right.
And none of them paying rent or bills. So you're paying their way through life. Don't you get tired?
Oh.
You have no idea.
Oh,
I bet you do. But Dr. Phil, it's the situation I've gotten myself into is just overwhelming.
What you've spent on treatments and lawyers and plus all of this stuff, you've probably gone through $250,000.
More than that.
If you had right now, if you had $250,000, somebody just handed you, said, here's after-tax bucks, $250,000, that would help a little bit, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely, it certainly would. But
and if you had spent that money, say $500,000, I know there's been $100,000 spent on lawyers and rehabs. If you had spent that money and they were all healthy and happy and productive, it would be a bargain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you've actually spent it, and every one of them is dysfunctional. So you haven't spent it to help, right. You've just spent it for either no good purpose or to actually hurt the situation.
Absolutely.
Look, there's another child in the mix here. Michael's 23-year-old daughter, Shelby, says she wants help for her sister Shane, even though she's struggling with demons of her own. Well, let's add Shelby to the mix after the break and see what she has to say.
I didn't just lose Kelsey, I also lost Shane. Because Shane's issues are louder, my dad and Mary put her issues first, so I can't ask for help. I'm trying so hard and nobody's noticing.
Wednesday, she says her daughter can't stop faking pregnancies.
She's done this 9 times, and then she brings you this. I have 2 words for you. Photoshop. You actually threw her a baby shower. She's got her mouth open, just, oh my God. At this point, she knows she's not pregnant.
It is unfair to make up a baby so that you can have a nice party and feel loved. That is not why I did it.
That's Wednesday. Then on Thursday.
Not only is she going to inherit her mother's overcrowded and messy mansion,
If you can ride, why walk?
but it comes with a price. An older sister who lives in the basement.
New Dr. Phil, Thursday.
Shelby struggles with PTSD because of the death of her sister Kelsey.
My daughter Shane blames Shelby for her sister's death. She just won't get off the blame game.
Apparently, the night of Kelsey's death, Shelby was going to a concert. She had gone into Kelsey's room and saw that Kelsey had passed out, but didn't think to say anything.
When Shane and Shelby are together, Shane puts on a good face, but I believe she still holds resentments. I want Shelby to get off the guilt trip and begin living life.
Well, Shelby says that instead of her sister Kelsey's overdose being a wake-up call, it really made things in her family worse. She says her dad, Michael, gives all of his money and attention to her other drug-addicted sister, Shane. Take a look.
My family needs Dr. Phil's help desperately. We don't talk about any of our problems, and when we do, it's sugar-coated. The day Kelsey died, she was going to let me use her ID to get into a concert. I kept knocking on her door, but she didn't answer. I ended up going through her window, and she was in the corner with a needle in her arm. I thought she was just asleep. I kind of was like, I love you, and I left. My sister Shane said since I didn't like Kelsey that much, that I didn't do anything. I'm still grieving because I didn't just lose Kelsey, I also lost Shane. My drug use took off after Kelsey died. I was using weed, coke, to meth, to heroin. I went to rehab and then sober living. I came home and I relapsed. I've overdosed about 4 times and I've been clean for about 6 months. I'm not doing any illegal drugs, just taking medication. Because Shane's issues are louder, my dad and Mary put her issues first, so I can't ask for help. I get so stressed out and I go crazy. I feel like I'm trying so hard in so many different areas of my life and nobody's noticing.
Well, Shelby, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I've read every word. We ask you a million questions, right? I mean, I've listened to every word that you've said. We record everything. I've read everything. And she's very honest, by the way, and also very intelligent. And there's a theme that goes through it all. And the theme that I'm picking up, and you tell me if I'm reading this right, is kind of, you're not bad enough to get their attention, but you're making bad enough choices to be in trouble. I mean, you're not making healthy choices every step of the way, but Shane is making such horrific choices that you're kind of getting lost in the shuffle.
I was crazy. I did bad stuff, but like I've been doing really well. And Shane does take up a lot of their time and priorities because she's in a bad place.
She blames you in part for your sister's death.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do anything when you went in her room and she had overdosed.
I didn't know.
Of course you didn't know.
I feel like I should have known. I should have done something, or I should have called my parents and told them, you know, Kelsey's messed up again, or...
Well, let me ask you this. Is there any theory in any universe, this or some parallel universe, in which you would walk up on your sister and think she was in a life-threatening situation and go, huh, and just walk away?
No.
That would never happen in a million years, would it?
Never.
All you can react to is what you perceive at the time. All we can respond to is what we know, what we encode, what we take in and perceive. And I'm sorry, but you were how old at the time?
I had just turned 15.
At 15, that is an unreasonable standard to hold yourself to. Now look, I'm Mr. Accountability. You got to know that. I don't make excuses for people. I don't let people make excuses for themselves. You have to hold yourself to a reasonable standard. And negligence is failing to do what a reasonable person would do in the same or similar circumstances. And this just does not appear negligent to me. A 15-year-old child is not to be held to a standard of assessing this situation, determining that this time it's life-threatening, and so I need to start ringing bells.
Yeah.
And you need to give yourself that pass. You didn't choose that overdose, your sister did. And if Shane overdoses, she'll make that choice, you won't make it. Are you doing drugs now?
No. I'm on medication.
What?
I'd rather not say. This isn't about me, it's about Shane.
Wednesday on an all-new Dr. Phil. She says her daughter can't stop faking pregnancies.
She's done this 9 times. You actually threw her a baby shower. She's got her mouth open, just, oh my God. At this point, she knows she's not pregnant.
That's Wednesday.
2018 is underway. All we need is you. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and want to watch a live taping, visit drphil.com and click tickets. Tickets are free, and I hope to see you soon. Are you doing drugs now?
No.
Are you doing any chemicals at all right now?
I'm on medication.
What?
I'd rather not say. I mean, it's
What's it for?
opiate prevention and anxiety.
When it's really bad, what do you experience?
Like someone sitting on my chest, and like I'm just trying to get out of a hole, and even if I'm in a room with somebody, like they can't hear me, and it's just the worst feeling in the world.
I 100% believe that's what you experience. It's kind of like paralysis. You can't run, but you want to, and you can't scream, but you want to, and you can't breathe, but you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a real panicky feeling. And I think that's very real. And I think tied up with that is very closely is depression. And those two are oftentimes very intertwined.
Yeah.
When I asked you that, you said, I'd rather not say what you're taking. Why?
Just because, like, this isn't about me, it's about Shane.
It's about whatever I decide it's about. And
Okay.
because it's all part of a puzzle. This is not Shane's issue.
Mm-hmm.
This is a family issue. And let me tell you something, whether you like it or not, you're just as important to me as Shane. This whole family needs help. She's just a symptom of this dynamic here, as are you, and everybody here.
Shane has just been ripping my dad's heart out.
And you know the problem here that you're facing is her problems and Shane's problems are way over your pay grade.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I agree.
Not because you're a bad parent, it's just because you're just a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes issues rise to a level that you can't parent your way out of. You need additional help. All right, now we've been talking about this family dynamic, and there's one more member that we need to add, and that is Shane. I understand that she has locked herself in the bathroom. So we're going to find out what's going on when we meet her next.
This is my day. When I get home,